If you're thinking about moving to the Raleigh, North Carolina area, we've got 5 of the best neighborhoods that we're going to review in this video. Stick around, we have a surprise area for you. I want to help you relocate the same way I did, with as smooth of a transition as you can. Let's start out with the first hot area that everybody notices when they start to look around for the best locations in Raleigh, and that is Cary, North Carolina. There's a reason Cary, North Carolina comes up on so many of the top 10 lists for relocation. Number 1, it's considered and voted a very safe area. Number 2, it's in the Wake County School District, which most people agree is a well-rated public school district. Location-wise, that's what really gets people, and amenities. If we're real, there is a price tag about moving into Cary. And realistically, you're probably skewed towards an older home if you're moving into the Cary area, because most of the homes were built in the 1970s during what was called the IBM boom. IBM moved into the area, built big facilities, provided thousands of jobs, and thousands of homes were built. So as you're looking around, my brother-in-law has 4 homes for sale in his neighborhood, and he lives in a 1977 house. So you're not going to be finding a brand new shiny house in Cary unless you go way west. Really, you're starting to go out into Apex, which is the town to the west of Cary. The location on the map for Cary makes it very attractive for people. Most families coming out to this area look at Cary and they feel very comfortable. The layout, the amenities, the quality of life, it checks a lot of boxes. But here's an issue that most people run into pretty quickly. Cary is the most expensive suburb on the list. Median home prices run around $600,000. The inventory and the price crunch is real. I hear it consistently from families who are coming in with a solid budget and immediately they're saying, we're priced out of the area we want, which is Cary. We want to show you some real world comments that we found as we went through the forums and ChatGPT online. This family relocating said, this is from the city-data.com forum. We had zeroed in on Cary and Apex as the ideal location, but given low inventory, 600 to 700K for the size house we're looking for is becoming tough in Cary and Apex. This is from a family and a real conversation that's happening for a lot of people moving into the area. It's the same thing we hear from people each week. The thing to realize about moving into Cary is this: likely you're going to be looking at older homes. Older homes were not built as big nor as open as most of the modern homes are. When you say the words open floor plan, that's like commonplace for new builds today, but not in the 70s, not in the 80s, and really not in the 90s either. So for about 30 to 40 years, the kitchen was separated from the living room and the dining room was a separate area as well. What some people do is they move into the area, they buy one of these older 70s homes and they renovate it. They tear down walls and they make it into an open floor plan, but that's an expense. Nowadays with materials up and all that, you'd have to weigh that into your budget costs before you go shopping in Cary. Cary is the right fit if you want an established suburb, you don't mind paying a premium, you want to be close to everything. But if budget is part of the conversation, keep watching because these other towns will solve that problem. By the way, one thing I always tell families coming out of state, the school zone your home sits in is more than just the address. 2 streets apart can mean 2 different schools and different long-term values. That's exactly the kind of thing that we work through with people and help them find out which school their address is going to get them to. So as I said, you're really going to want to research where would we be going on this address. You can look that up on the website, and then calling the school and finding out more about how that school is doing. How are their test scores? How are their kids doing? Are they graduating? That kind of thing. The second thing, and this comes up a lot, is the traffic. Traffic in and out of the heart of Cary can get busy. And especially during the typical times you would decide, in the morning when schools are coming, people are going to work, and then in the afternoon when people are trying to get home. Here's another quote from citydata.com. The constant shuffling of schools. It was really hard to wrap my head around that there's not a neighborhood school model here. My kid has to travel 9 miles to middle school, where there are 2 different middle schools right within 3 miles of our house. And that's from a resident who lives in the area. That's not a complaint about school quality, because Wake County does have a good reputation. It's logistics that really affects the daily life in the ways that you don't anticipate until you're living in it. The third thing I'll bring up is HOAs. Most newer Cary neighborhoods have them. They vary widely, and some are great, some are aggressive. Check the HOA docs before you make an offer on that house. Coming up is a town that gets knocked around a lot online, but the people who live there absolutely love it, and there's a specific reason for that. Suburb number 2 is Wake Forest. Wake Forest is the small town feel with a catch. Moving north of Raleigh, we're going to start talking about Wake Forest. Wake Forest has a dreamy, idyllic thing where people fall in love with Wake Forest. When they talk about it, I'm not exaggerating. They're like, love Wake Forest. I want to be in a Wake Forest zip code. I want to be here. And there's some merit to that, and everybody has their own opinion. Most people love the town they live in. Wake Forest has a small downtown. It's quaint. It's larger than Apex. It's not as large as Cary. And it definitely has a feel of being separated. And what I mean by that is just, it takes a drive to get up to Wake Forest. You have to want to go up there. It is not close to the city and is not close to the airport or the Research Triangle. It's quite a commute to get out there. Even if you were going to NC State, it's a good 30-minute drive, especially with traffic. It has a beautiful historic downtown. It has boutique shops, beautiful wooded tree areas. The community feel is tight there. In Wake Forest, you're going to get a little bit more home for your dollar than you would in Cary or Apex. Families move from out of state are drawn here because it feels like a real town, not just a grid of subdivisions. There's history here, there's character, there's a downtown that existed a long time ago. Here's what the search results don't tell you, and it's the thing people bring up mostly after they've actually moved here. The commute. It is a bear. It's called Capitol Boulevard. The main route into Raleigh gets congested. If your job is in the Research Triangle Park or Central Raleigh, you're looking at sometimes a 35 to 45 minute commute. This is the question that comes up in a lot of forums. Let's go back to what we found online. This is a quote from someone who moved to Wake Forest. My husband keeps finding homes in Wake Forest, but I'm afraid it's just too far away, trying to keep his commute to 30 minutes. 30 minutes is a magical number. I'm just gonna say this. I can't tell you how many people say I need to be 30 minutes from my job, 30 minutes from my commute, whether that's Nightdale or Garner or wherever they may be working. You definitely want to be looking with someone who understands the area before you start falling in love with a place like Wake Forest. What's the reality of Capitol Boulevard? If there is construction, which Raleigh constantly has construction now, if there's an accident, a traffic accident, it's 2 lanes and it's going to stop. It's going to back up. Within a few minutes, you could have half a mile of traffic. So it's this pain in the side that a lot of people simply are tolerating month after month because they want to be in the area. Another issue in this area is road lighting. This one sounds minor until you're driving home at 11 o'clock. Stretches between Wake Forest and Raleigh are dark in a way that kind of takes adjustment. Someone online said, quote, driving at night took some getting used to. The roads aren't well lit. I learned that after hitting a few medians. This was a transplant from New York. I hope that person's doing okay. One more item to think about is snow and ice. If you're getting stuck in Wake Forest, it's going to make it hard to get to commuter areas, especially if they don't get out there and clear the streets. Now, we don't have a lot of snow in Raleigh, but once or twice a year we get a snowstorm or we get an ice storm that will come in and kind of shut things down. When they have any ice or really any significant storm, they will shut down the schools. So you're kind of stuck at home or you're taking care of your kids at home. It's kind of funny almost because the storms are usually less than what's predicted and people just kind of hunker down for a while. If you're looking at the suburbs that I'm talking about right now and they are just not a fit for you, I'm gonna stop right here and point you to a video that we're going to present, which we did, marking some of the lesser known suburbs. The ones I'm telling you about are probably coming up on your searches with the exception of maybe 1 or 2. These are a lot less likely for you to see, and I think they're a lot more value if you're looking on a budget. If you're sticking around, this next town gets attention mostly because of economic reasons. Let's take a look. This is the part in our conversation where the value really changes. Holly Springs is southwest of Raleigh, tucked in right between Apex and Fuquay-Varina. 10 years ago, this was the affordable alternative to Cary or Apex. Bass Lake Park is a 54-acre gem with fishing, with trails and canoe rentals. Bass Lake Park even has an interactive like nature center where they have some of the local creatures like snakes and turtles. My kids absolutely love Bass Lake, and they have free tackle for the kids. So if you're thinking about getting into fishing, make sure you head down to Bass Lake, and even if you don't live there, you can get a free tackle box for your kids. Here's what most people don't know about Holly Springs right now. This will change the way you think of it. Holly Springs has developed its own economic base. Major biotech and life science companies have moved in. Got Amgen and Fujifilm and others. Jobs are coming directly into the town. When you see that level coming into a neighborhood, that's where your values will eventually rise. Also, 540 extension, it's a highway that goes all the way around Raleigh, has totally changed the game for getting up to Apex and up to Cary and even up to Durham. It really changes the game and makes that not really a factor anymore. Let's see what actual people are saying online. We have family in Holly Springs, lots of transplants there who love it, especially with kids. The schools are amazing. There's always something going on in the community. That's from a Holly Springs resident and on citydata.com. Here's another quote. Holly Springs is a beautiful, family-friendly suburb. From the cute downtown to the farmers market on Saturday to the festivals at Sugg Farm, there's a lot to do. You can go boating on Bass Lake or enjoy live music at the park. The schools are amazing and so is the community. That's from niche.com. I will add that Holly Springs has its own baseball team called the Salamanders. The Salamanders they're not a AAA team, they're whatever's kind of below the AAA tier. And so they have a fun little ballpark. Kids just love going there. As well, Holly Springs has a great little wine shop downtown called Wine 100. It's my favorite personal place to visit in Holly Springs. 2 ice cream shops downtown that are both locally based. So you're getting it's not a chain like Baskin Robbins or something, you're getting local authentic stuff. That's what a lot of people love about these little towns. Apex, Cary, Holly Springs. They love the small town vibe, even though the world just isn't a small town anymore. It's big and there's tens of thousands of people in the area. So if you're looking to experience that and enjoy that, that's what these towns are really great at. Holly Springs home prices are sitting between $500 and $650. I know that's a big range, but you can still buy a home, and they're building there. They're building in Holly Springs, unlike in Cary. So you can get into a mid-range property under the 500 price point that's a newer property, probably built either brand new or within the last 20 years. That's a significant savings for you if you add that into your budget, because a home from 1977 is going to have far more maintenance and upkeep costs than a home built in the last 20 years. Holly Springs is one of those towns where knowing where you're landing, which side of 540, can make a really big difference for your commute and your school zone. Pause this video right now and write down this number. Go ahead and send us a text with your information, like when you're moving and what you're thinking about doing, and we can set up a call to be able to help you identify the areas within Holly Springs that really work for you. There is a landfill at the top of Holly Springs that some residents have complained about being able to smell in hot days where the wind's blowing a certain direction. Definitely don't want to get stuck in one of those spots. It's another reason to make sure you're identifying the right area. Get more information about it before you move there. Rush hour traffic on 55 and going up to US 1 backs up significantly during the commuter hours. It's the main way in and out of Holly Springs. I sound like a broken record, but each of these areas is experiencing traffic in one sort or another. If you're a home worker or a hybrid worker, you might have a better time with all of that because you can just stay home during the peak traffic times. Here's another quote online. A forum said, "Holly Springs is growing faster than the infrastructure can keep up. The roads and schools are under pressure. That said, the community itself is genuinely great. It just helps to go in knowing that growth has a cost." One more thing to add, Holly Springs has a lot of new developments and they take the trees out when they do the development. So they don't have as many mature trees in the newer developments. In fact, the new developments, they plant trees, but it's going to seem spare and it's going to seem kind of sparse for a while, for years, till these trees grow and fill out. If you're looking for mature landscaping, be sure to connect with us and identify areas where you're gonna get some trees. All right, we've got 2 more towns left. This next one surprises people. They go in skeptical and they come out converts. This next town is flying under the radar, but not for long. Fuquay-Varina, I get calls on it every week. Anyone outside the triangle does not know how to say this. Fuquay, Fuquay, all kinds of different things we get, but it's Fuquay, Varina. It's really two towns that were merged into one in the mid-60s. They both have springs. You've got Fuquay Springs and Varina Springs, and the downtowns are within a half mile of each other, so they merged it all into one big town. In 2025, Fuquay Varina was ranked the safest small town in North Carolina. That's real data. The new neighborhoods are going up fast. Schools are in Wake County, except for a small part of southern Fuquay. You want to make sure you know which part you're in, because part of southern Fuquay is in Harnett County. Fuquay has a grower's market, restaurants, a small town feel that doesn't seem manufactured. Now, I want to be straight with you because this is the thing that matters for a lot of different people. Fuquay is further out, 25 to 40 minutes to downtown Raleigh, depending on the traffic. If your job is in RTP, the Research Triangle, you got to add more time to that. It's quite a drive. The back and forth is talked about a lot in forums online. We've got two quotes for you this time. Fuquay has been suggested by our realtor, but seems too small, too remote for a young family. Here's another quote. Fuquay is not remote at all and has been growing by leaps and bounds. I would definitely consider it. Again, this is a hot debate, mostly because some people are used to longer commutes, some people are used to shorter commutes, and some people are working from home. The right family fit for Fuquay Varina is someone who wants more space, more home, and a lower price. Remote workers, specifically hybrid workers, look at Fuquay Varina on a map and they think it's manageable. And then after a few months of making that commute, even if it's 2 or 3 days out of the week, they're ending up frustrated. You want to make sure and really measure out what this means for you and where in Fuquay you are. Most of these towns, Cary, Apex, Holly Springs, Fuquay, they've all annexed different areas. Sometimes you can be all the way down in the most southern westernmost part of it and you can still be in Fuquay and you're still pretty far away from everything. Amenities are definitely growing in Fuquay Varina. It's not far from a Costco. It's about a 15-minute drive. They just put a Target just outside of town. Walmart, all the other stores are there. If you're looking for a real dense, walkable, restaurant-rich kind of area, Fuquay doesn't have the restaurants yet. If you love breweries, Aviator will be your favorite place. They have a tap room. They have a barbecue store separate from the pizza shop, separate from the 40,000 square foot brewery. It really is an attraction for anyone coming, even if you're just driving through the area. If you're looking for Whole Foods, you're gonna have to go all the way up to Cary, and that's a good 25, 30-minute drive. Let's go back to what we found on forums real quick. This quote says, everything looked great online from far, but after multiple visits, it became clear that some of the most attractive areas remotely didn't hold up under scrutiny once we spent time there. You really need to come down and visit. On that note, if you're coming for a visit, I would say this applies to all the different areas that we're talking about. Before you fall in love with Wake Forest, before you say, I gotta be in Cary, visit the area. Make sure you take our number or send us an email. Let us know what your plans are ahead of time, especially if you're coming to town. We can arrange to sit down with you and give you a tour that will help you identify the areas that will work for you. Here's why I saved this one for last. Apex is called the peak of living. Apex really does combine the best of a lot of the different parts of Raleigh. What really stands out about Apex is that if you're looking for new build, new construction close to Apex, you can still get that. I'm standing in a new construction property right now that is just 5 minutes from central Apex, from downtown Apex, and they're still below the median price, but getting there quickly. Apex offers the quick commute to the Research Triangle, the quick access to the airport. Both of those are just 15 minutes away. If you're going to downtown or say NC State, that's a 30-minute drive, but most people aren't moving here to go to NC State. They're moving here because they want to be near culture, they want to be near the downtowns, they want to be near Research Triangle Park. Apex has been voted the #1 best suburb to raise a family. It's also been called one of the most livable small cities in America. Formerly, it was the best place to live in the entire country, and that's not on one list. It's a consistent pattern across multiple sources and multiple years. Historic downtown Apex has real character. It's small, but it's built around an old train depot dating back to the 1800s. It has local restaurants, community events, farmers market, park system that competes directly with Cary, schools consistently at the top of Wake County, a healthy mix of established neighborhoods and new construction. Whether you want move-in ready or older homes, you can find both inventories here. What consistently happens when families do their research, let's talk about that that next? This is what they say in the forums after they've been through the process. We recently visited and enjoyed the little town of Apex. We like the simple, quaint feel, and we're astonished at how much our budget could buy. We love the outdoor access, the community feel. It checked every box. Here's another quote. My experience with Apex has been pretty good. Forests are stuffed into every corner around where I live. There are 3 greenways within biking distance of my house. It's the kind of place where you actually want to be outside. I would resonate with that. I would say out of the places that we've looked all around Raleigh, Cary and Apex maintain the best trails, including the American Tobacco Trail, which is 22 miles long, goes all the way up through Durham County, and many greenways. The best parks are in Apex and Cary. So you're talking about a 25-minute radius. You'd be able to drive to tons and tons of parks. My kids are still discovering new parks. We are still discovering new parks after being here for years. Just a quick side note, I relocated a few years ago and I wish I'd had somebody give me all this information and really identify the areas with me that will work. So if that's you, drop us a line. We're here for you day or night or weekends. Who is Apex for? Well, it's for families who want the full package. Schools, community, character, real downtown without paying Cary's premium, but it's starting to get there. Families moving from out of state feel comfortable here fast. Quality of life, outdoor access. Pricing and inventory move fast. Apex is in high demand. When something good comes on the market at the right price, it doesn't sit. Families researching remotely who want to think about it for a week have sometimes missed homes here. If Apex is your target, you need to be ready, pre-approved if you're gonna buy with a clear picture of what you want. The market doesn't wait. Nightlife, the streets do close up about 10 o'clock. Downtown closes early. If you're moving from a bigger city, there's always something going on late. Apex is not going to quite feel right. Side note, I would probably try closer to downtown Raleigh or Durham. Durham actually has quite a nightlife. Here's just one more quote. Even fans of Apex notice this. Apex and Cary are ground zero for transplants, and for good reason. Because everyone wants to be there, you feel the competition. The market moves fast and you have to be ready for that. That's a user, a forum user. That's somebody who moved from out of state to Apex. Traffic on the main corridors, you know what I'm gonna say, particularly towards Cary and towards RTP, they get heavier as the town has grown. Still manageable compared to a lot of metros, but you're gonna have to make sure you keep that in mind. None of this changes the overall picture. Apex is still the strongest lifestyle fit on this list for most families. Helps to know what you're walking into. I'm gonna walk you through 4 questions that you need to ask if you're moving to the area. Where are you working? That's the first question. Not where do you want to work, where you actually are and where you're going. If you're at Research Triangle Park or anywhere in the west side of Raleigh, your best options are probably Cary, Apex, or Holly Springs. Commute math makes more sense there. If you're fully remote, every town on the list is viable, and then it just depends on your budget. Question number 2, what is your real budget? Not the top of your pre-approval for your home buying, but your actual comfort number. I would say what I ask everybody that I work with is, what is the monthly payment that you're comfortable with right now? What is that number? And knowing that it's not going to change, can you stretch a little bit with your number, but knowing that it's not going to change like your rent would? That's the number what we start with. Let's say it's $3,000 a month. Let's say it's $4,500 a month. You're like, I need a big place, I'm ready to pay that. Well, we start with your budget and kind of work backwards and make sure we get you into something that works for you. Question 3, this one changes the answer for families with kids. How old are your kids? How important is school assignment? If your kids are starting school right away, then school zone matters immediately. Cary, Apex, and Holly Springs all have strong options. The specific neighborhood you buy in determines your assignment. If you're a few years out from college age, you have more flexibility. In a town like Fuquay or Wake Forest that's still growing, its school infrastructure makes more sense long term. I will also add to this that we have what's called the North Carolina Opportunity Scholarship, and it is available to provide thousands of dollars towards any school that you choose. That can be a religious school, private school, an academy. We have great academies and great private schools in the area that are worth looking into if that's even an option for you. Here's a quick quote. Like everyone else who asks this question, you are likely to discover that after you arrive and start house shopping, your decision will have much more to do with commuting distance and whether you like a specific neighborhood than whether that neighborhood is this or that or Apex or Cary. Distinctions in neighborhood feel are much larger than the differences between the towns. That's right, the town name really matters less than the specific neighborhood, specific school zone, and the specific commuter route. Here's question number 4, and this is one that most people skip. What does your daily daily routine actually look like? Not your weekends. I'm talking about Tuesday. Where do you want to go for groceries? Where are your kids going to go for activities? Where do you go to decompress? Those little things mean a long drive wherever you land. You're going to feel it. Families are happiest 6 months after moving are the ones who picked a town that fits their actual daily patterns. Here's a simple breakdown. Cary, if commute, location, and established amenities are the priority and the budget isn't the limiting factor. Wake Forest, if remote work or North Raleigh job, small town character, more home for less money is what you're after. Holly Springs, if strong schools, newer suburban feel, and a town with real growth momentum is a priority. Fuquay Arena, if remote work is an option, maximum space and value and a slower pace is fit for your life. Apex, if the full package is a priority, you're ready to move when the right house comes up. If you're still not sure after all of that, that's exactly what our team does. Sit down with families who are relocating. We work through these 4 questions together. Want more information? Looking for more areas to check out before you come visit? Watch this playlist. There's several video clips in a row that I've created for areas that I specifically recommend and that might be a fit for you and your lifestyle. I'll see you over on the playlist.